Hey everybody, welcome to another video review. Sorry for the little jump right there. So this is Aerith Gainsborough from the Final Fantasy VII Remake game. It's from a studio called MH Studios. They're a custom group out of China. So this was part of the craze of new statue products released when Final Fantasy VII was just really popular. But of course it took forever to actually create these pieces. And so now it finally made its way into the hands of collectors right about when the second part of Final Fantasy VII is beginning to be buzzed about. I think they call it, I think it's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is the next title in the game. So similarly to Tifa, many different versions of Aerith from Final Fantasy VII was made by different companies. MH Studios is one of them, Mayfly Studios as well, but there's a whole host of these companies in China who are doing it. And none of them is licensed, of course. And so you all kind of have to, take your chances getting them. MH Studios and Mayfly Studios appears to be the most popular versions of them. I actually got the statue quite a few months ago, again, sitting in the garage. I didn't have the time to take it out. So now let's take a look. It's very limited. I think there was only a few hundred, like maybe 348 or something like that. I will take a cut and show the picture of the underside of the base, as well as the certificate of authenticity. So its certificate came in this kind of very nice folder. It's black. You kind of, it's almost like a wedding invitation. So you open it up, but the disappointing thing is when you open it up, it just kind of shows you like the render or a shot of Aerith from the game or something, but there was no information about this piece. Like there's no limitation, there's no number or what it is, nothing at all. And so we compare that to the neoclassicism Tifa Lockhart, where they actually give you like a metal rectangular plaque, real metal, showing you the additional size and number. I mean, that's really impressive, and this is lacking in that respect. Okay, again, non-licensed piece. So when they first showed the 3D renders, it looked really good, as everything with Final Fantasy VII Remake looks good. It's almost like they're made to be it's almost like, how should I put it? The characters of the game is almost made to be created into statues, right? Because of the art style. So it looked really good, but the question is, what that translation from a 3D render in a computer to an actual statue or collectible in front of you, that's a very different thing. So does she hold up? Let's take a look. Okay, so first of all, just trying to back up all the way. She's a pretty tall statue. You can clearly see. So we're just going to sort of do the turnaround so we can appreciate that. So you kind of get a view of what she looks like all the way out. I'm hoping that that's working out there. And then we'll come a little bit closer. The base actually, in my opinion, is one of the strongest parts of this statue. You see that this is paying homage to where you find her in the church. And you can see the stained glass effect. Now this is not quite as good as the Tifa version, where it actually feels like it's plastic or glass. This is all just painted on, but it's painted very nicely. The stonework and the weathering effects on the stone is outstanding. There's a ton of detail here, and then you can look at the paint job, the speckling. So this is actually done very well. Here, there's actually a little bit of mixed media. Look at the detailing here of the Gothic windows, and then of course the stonework. So the base is, I mean, absolutely phenomenal. Beautifully sculpted and incredibly painted, actually. So here you go. Hopefully you can appreciate all of that detail. It looks like actual, it looks like real stone. And then this is a little multimedia piece that you put in all the way up here. You can see where it fits. This is supposed to be, the torn curtains. That doesn't look as good, in my opinion. It obviously looks like a piece of plastic, so it doesn't quite fit in. And then you can look at the damage here, and the stained glass shattered through. So that's also very good damage effect as well. And you can see the cracks, old torn curtains or whatnot. And then looking at where she's standing, look at the wood. Wood is beautifully done, excellent. And then these flowers are, I think, plastic or PVC, so they don't break. I mean, this is okay. Nothing incredible, but definitely does the job. But I think that the wood effect here is done very, very nicely. And then all the way up to the steeple, and then the sort of the damaged top, all of that. So this base is absolutely aces. If you look at the boots, also very, very nicely detailed, beautiful texturing, beautiful finish. The metal straps look essentially almost real. You can see the individual stitches all the way along the back. So this is also very, very nice. Definitely gives you the feel of leather. Sculpted the wrinkles immaculately. It's a little bit dirty as well. Shows that she's been walking some. You can again see all the little tiny stitches as part of the boot. And again, more of that detail for the brass straps. So the boots, absolutely remarkable. Then you have the legs. And then here, you have her dress, so almost like a petticoat. It's white and pink, and even the pink has a little bit of white. You can see all the different floral designs. If I kind of scroll close enough, you can see the little buttons, the hem. You can see all the flower patterns, both of the white and also the pink version, the pink portion. This here is plastic. All the way up to here. I'm not a huge fan of the dress here for whatever reason. I don't know why. I mean, maybe you can have some comments if you feel it, but I mean, they try to do a good job like sculpting the movement of the dress and putting these lines in here, like the little bits of texturing, so it feels like there's some flow to the dress. But for some reason, it just still looks a lot like it's resin or plastic. Like they didn't do, I think, a good enough job with the material or the sculpt or the paint where it feels like clothes, and it basically really just feels like it's it's resin or something like that. And maybe it's just really hard to do because I think in game, I mean, this is very, very thin and lacy, like very, very thin and lacy. And so it's hard to sculpt light clothes or, thin clothes, I think really, really well. I think it's easier to sculpt heavy ones like pants or shoes or jackets. I mean, I have to give them credit for the detail. This is obviously made possible by only by 3D rendering. Digital sculpting. You can see the patterns go all the way up to the top, where it's around her chest. You can see that the button detail is definitely on point. It's there. So it is very, very detailed, but I think the problem is it does not convey the illusion of the lightness of the material, in my opinion. But having said that, her red leather jacket is, again, remarkable. It kind of, again, begins to harken back to the amount of detail of the boots. You can clearly see the texturing of the jacket. You can see the individual stitch marks, beautifully sculpted, beautifully done. The wrinkles here look good. The folds of the cloth look good. You can see all of the individual zippers as well as, the metal zipper line, the metal buttons. You can see the zipper over here. This is not movable. It's all of one piece. You can see the strap here. So I think that the contrast, again, between the leather jacket and the undergarment is pretty striking, and it does make the leather jacket look a bit better, and maybe it makes this look the dress itself look a little bit worse. Okay. The necklace here is multimedia, so it's not sculpted into not into the neck. It's not sculpted into it. It actually moves around a little bit, so you can see that it actually moves around a little bit. They did a great job with the hair. So this ponytail is placed via magnet. So she comes, is a very simple assembly: a base, the main body, the head is connected to the main body, and then you put on the ponytail and then the 2 arms. So only 5 pieces total, which is a simplicity I do appreciate. Here you can see her fingers sort of individually sculpted. Nice job there. And then also individually sculpted hands. You have the bangles. I believe this is actually loose. No, it's not loose. It's attached. So there you have it. Good detail there on her bracelets. The texturing of the hair is, in my opinion, outstanding. Very, very realistic. Just kind of moving back so you can get to see some of that detail. Nice, good detail on the ears. The hairs looks really, really nice. Beautiful, beautiful eyes. I'm afraid I'm going to give you the fishtail lens effect because I'm going so close to her eyes to show you how well they painted that with the lashes. So far, so good. Overall, I think she's a fine statue. Now, the main criticism, in my opinion, is that the paint, especially of the flesh or the skin, is a bit lacking. Okay. Now I know that this is from a video game, and so the video game has this sort of unnatural look to it. I mean, they are animated, but again, for her skin, it's just a very, very dull paint job. It's very flat. It's like one color, the ear, the chest, the face. Aside from the eyes and the slightly pink lips, there's just very little color to her, like there's no texturing at all. And so just a little bit of makeup, a little bit of blush would have brought out her emotions a lot better and would have done wonders for her likeness. I think that this is a beautiful sculpt. And I've looked at the Mayfly version, and I do like this Aerith's pose. I like the base better. I like her pose better. I even like her face actually a little bit better. But the paint job is a major negative, in my opinion. Okay, now maybe later on we can go ahead and repaint it, and that could turn this piece up to the next level. It's going to be hard to do though, because the chest has to be sort of redone. The hair is in the way. It's not going to be the easiest thing in the world to properly do. To do this justice, it's going to be quite difficult. But if we can get most of it done, just a little bit more, again, color, a little bit more, so that she doesn't look like a corpse, right? Like she almost looks like too pale to be alive. I think that the color saturation here is a little bit problematic, in my opinion. But when you take her as a gestalt and you put her all together, from the base all the way and just kind of look, she definitely has very nice presence, and she would, pair pretty nicely with Tifa, with Tifa sort of like more of erotic physicality, and then Aerith's more reserved, slightly playful nature. They would make a very good companion pieces to each other. But yeah, this is my, I only bought one of her. Unlike Tifa, I only bought one of Aerith because I didn't want to go too crazy by multiple Aeriths and Tifas. I like both of my other Tifas, and of course they made like 7, 8 versions of her, just like they made similarly many versions of this one in all of their different dresses for the game and different looks. But overall, I would have to say I'm pretty pleased with her. I would give her like a solid, I would say 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. I think the base is on point. The shoes, amazing. The leather jacket, excellent. The dress, underwhelming. I think the likeness is there, but I think that unfortunately the paint of the face is a kind of lets it down a little bit. But when you put all of that together, we have such a strong base, wonderful pose, good sculpt. great clothing effects. And it's just the dress, maybe a little bit, lacking, and the paint job of the face, a bit lacking. Overall, I think 7 out of 10 is a ballpark figure, is a fair evaluation. So maybe later on, depending on my time and how much time I want to give to this, I might commission her and get her face repainted. But this is it. Aerith Gainsborough from Final Fantasy VII Remake. And these are probably going to be the only statues I buy from that game that I feel are like iconic characters from that game. So I know there's a whole bunch of other stuff out there, but for me, I would like to get a really, really good Yuffie, but I haven't really seen it yet. I don't think they've continued the line. I certainly haven't seen a Barrett, for instance, or even a Sid or some of the minor characters. There's of course Cloud, which I'm not a huge fan of Cloud's design. And so I think that, at least for my collection, my Aerith and 2 Tifas are good enough. But here you go. Took quite a while, many, many months of waiting, but happy to have gotten her in. Thanks for your attention. Until next time, do take care.